Hello, we are the five who fat. No, we're not. We are the Whoniversals. This is the most of us.
Yes, Matt and Tom.
Yeah, pretty much almost all of us.
Just minus Matt and Toss.
Of the modern team.
The most Whoniversals we've ever had in one location so far.
Should we all just introduce ourselves?
Yeah, okay, so we go left to right.
Motherfucker number 1, motherfucker number 2, motherfucker number 3, 4, 5. We just came back from the Abominable BFI.
Yeah, I almost said Power of the Daleks earlier. I was telling my dad where I was going, what I was going to see.
7 years ago.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was getting my stories mixed up. Sorry.
But we here in London, we went to the apparently last BFI for
animated.
Not the last BFI ever.
Because they're going to do the Time Meddler next.
Because the government are defunding the BFI.
So
unfortunately.
No, the last animation
Not even
BFI.
lying.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah, the last animation BFI for now, and it was for the Abominable.
Yeah.
And very fittingly enough, it's the final Victoria story that needs to be done. So
Yeah.
we finally got a whole 60s companions run finished. Woo! Based.
Yeah. Very. Yeah.
But sorry, it's just
You can close it if you want.
We need to
we should probably close the window.
To close the window, bring it back in and turn the handle down.
Who wants to get the ball rolling? Because
Well, I personally think I think the animation is, if we start with that, it's an improvement on what Fury was like, and I think this is the best from this team, and it's also one of the best full stop from this block. Along with the Macra.
The only thing I don't like about the animation, again, it's hyper realistic, so that doesn't match in. It's like, it's okay if you do 3D models, I think that looks cool.
Yeah, that was
When they don't match in with the animation style, like the Buddha statue, and like the spheres, bloody weird because they're photorealistic, and then like the mountains and stuff, or like the other sets which are 3D still, are like in the animation style, and like you should pick one style. It's like you've got the normal style, or even like the TARDIS in the animation style, and you've got the Buddha statue which looks like it's from like a hyper realistic CGI.
There's also like a slight issue with that, with the first like courtyard when you walk in, and you see like Troughton walk in. It's quite obvious. You see like a big shot of him, and there's like shadows being cast over it, but he doesn't have one, and he just looks. It just looks like they've superimposed him on. He doesn't look like he's a part of the scene at all.
Well, that's what they've done.
I know that, but like there should be some effort taken to add a shadow to him in the same sort of way that the background has a shadow, just to make it look like he's actually there.
Everything else doesn't.
It's the same team that did Fury from the Deep and Galaxy 4.
Yeah, in fact, according to Harry Russell, they did that simultaneously.
Yeah,
they also said they did Web of Fear as well.
Yeah, they did the God Awful Web of Fear thing at the same time.
So they were doing Web of Fear, this,
and
Galaxy 4, and
Fury from the Deep.
And finishing up Fury from the Deep. So basically between 11 and, I would say if it's 2 Thursdays they threw it, so maybe another 2 of those episodes left to go.
Oh God, I'm
or
visibly
something.
sweating.
I know, but loads of episodes.
It has the same trappings of that style, like the weird proportions of the characters, like Second Doctor Stell's lanky arms.
It's not as bad as Hartnell was, to be fair.
But
it's
but it's not great.
It has the same trappings of that style, but this is the best iteration of it.
I think in terms of flow and actual like animation, I thought this was probably like the smoothest one we've had from this team.
So.
The only thing that really stuck out to me that was a bit like janky, I think, was the actual Abominable Snowmen themselves. They kind of just felt like a PGN, just kind of doing this. And then when obviously you saw the existing footage, they're a lot more, menacing. They're kind of more
They're a bit faster as well.
They
kind of just look like they're trundling a little bit in this one.
There was some detail, because I'm not sure if it was present in Fury or Galaxy 4, but I noticed they implemented some subtle details. Like I noticed, especially in the still scenes when characters like praying, you notice them breathing, and and when like the Yeti is standing outside, you see like some subtle like fur flowing in the wind. So I was really impressed by that, because I'm not sure if they had that in Fury or Galaxy 4. So it's good to see they implemented that. There's Obviously, we watched it in colour because it's the best part.
They showed it.
It looks nice.
I didn't get to see this final episode. But
I
haven't seen it.
They took some creative liberties because obviously in the original story they had
Yellow Face.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Tommy was played by a Sri Lankan, or half Sri Lankan. I can't remember. But that's like a half gesture to. But no. But in this production, they've actually gone to the effort to represent them as
they likely would have been.
Gary
Russell did say that they wanted to do that.
A mixture of a lot of like East Asian nations.
Like Chinese, Tibetan,
Korean,
Nepalese, Pakistani, like so on and
Indian.
so forth.
At least if the Abominable Snowmen does ever return to the archive, there's a non-offensive version they can show too.
Yes. And there's there were other creative liberties like Padmasambhava.
Yeah,
At least you can say that.
I do actually think it's better in this version because he looks more creepy.
Yeah, it looks great.
I love that bit.
That is the best single thing about the animation, that design. It looks
and I love how they keep it hidden for so long and then part 4 cliffhanger it's just shown.
There's also like
corpse.
It may just be me, but it seems like there's a lot more. There's just a lot more in this animation because when you go back to Fury from the Deep, characters are just sort of waddling like, oh no, a seaweed.
It's the best this team's done, and it's a shame it's stopping here.
But they can go out on a high note.
But right from the opening scene where you have Travers like discovering that his companion, the man is dead. When you discover that his companion's dead, there's like a lot of head turning, like the gun moving. It's like,
they definitely.
And I'm like, Jesus Christ, you really upped your game.
They stuck to it.
Yeah, and I was really impressed by the amount of detail. It did sort of jar me because like you get some of the faces of the Tibetan monks who like have a lot of like lines and wrinkles on their faces, and they look not hyper realistic, but they look more detailed. Then you cut back to the Doctor and Jamie, who are the same models from Fury from the Deep.
Jamie and Victoria especially are like Victoria especially is just pretty much blank with eyes and a nose.
The biggest problem with the animation is the fact that it's not entirely consistent. And that's the thing, like it almost like needed a once over of just like the animation style is this, let's stick to that please. And they didn't. But at least we've got it.
Better than nothing.
Yeah, the Yeti, again, as Jean said, they are probably the weakest part, but to be fair, that
design is pretty good.
Sort of true to the original story as well. They weren't great.
I think it's just the motion of them. It's there's nothing necessarily wrong with the design of it. I think that's nice. I think it's just when they're coming towards you, they are a bit kind of, okay, we'll rotate the PNG like to save the side.
I would 100% though take these animated Yeti over the Boba Fett one.
Yes.
But I think anyone would.
So
if somebody says they don't,
I would rather drink water than suffocate, but suffocate, dehydrate. You know what I mean?
It still works.
Yeah.
And I noticed the spear at the end. I'm pretty sure that was the it's been designed around the one from the Snowman.
Yeah, I saw that
just sort of like old and sort of battered. Which I think is a pretty neat touch.
Touch.
There's a bunch of Easter eggs.
Sorry.
Because the Snowman's supposed to be set before this. So it's like that's what happened. I don't know how on earth it got to Tibet, but somehow it did.
I noticed one of the monks also had like the Corsair tattoo.
Oh, neat.
Which I thought was like an odd little Easter egg.
I think it's the one I think you think you maybe
the Corsair.
It does. It kind of look like the Corsair's one. I mean, I'm thinking of a kind of a black circular thing or sea or something.
There was some other like when Padmasambhava. I said it right and I said it wrong.
It's like very old man.
Yeah,
very old man.
Like there was some really interesting bits that actually improved. Like because some people complimented the Macroterror animation for improving on set pieces from the story itself. I think this is another case where, especially at the climax when Padmasambhava starts levitating and there's the boom.
It feels like it's breathed a bit of new life into sort of because
it's difficult.
Got that.
It's difficult to imagine what that would have looked like.
We just would have been standing there, just
and just like Patrick Troughton straining and just going, oh no.
It's a bit like maybe Sutek in Pyramids of Mars, but not as interesting.
Yeah,
probably. Along those lines.
Crap. Oh yeah, there was also like. You know when I'm not sure if it was inspired by, but like you know in the cave when the the intelligence's influence or whatever starts.
Yes. That reminds me a lot like the web from Web of Fear and the phone from Fury from the Deep.
It reminded me, it's sort of like, because it sort of looks like the web spreading from the Web of Fear, but also sort of loosely give me vibes of like the connections from the Bells of St. John.
Ah, yeah.
Because that's also a great intelligence.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there were 3 great intelligence stories in Series 7 and no one remembers hiding.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's like...
Okay, so the last time we canonically saw the Great Intelligence in the timeline is on Trenzalore. So how the fuck did he get from Trenzalore to Tibet?
And if we're going by timeline, it was technically he's doing all of this, but he also pops over to England in the 18-somethings.
Yeah.
1992, I think it was.
A map.
1892, he goes to play with Dr. Simeon. Then he comes back to Tibet, does all this. 35 years later, he's doing Web of Fear.
Yeah.
And then 2013, I say he because he speaks like a he. And then
But he's
2013.
licking Richard Grant's face again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in this as well. But that's probably also seeing what's his face, his voice as well.
Basically, Stephen Moffat.
Yeah, and then 2013, it's back and doing the whole Wi-Fi stuff, and then somehow it gets to Trenzalore.
Essentially what we've realised here is just by watching this, we've thought about other times that the intelligence was used, and we've realised just how bad Series 7 is.
Yeah.
So, completely unrelated, but you know, it's bad.
The animation,
It's good.
yeah, it's like there's got a mix of like 3D cell shading elements in there as well, like the spheres, like the Buddha statue, like the TARDIS.
Yeah, TARDIS is nice.
Yeah, TARDIS is in the animation style, so it's great.
Yeah.
I think it has the same, because you mentioned how like sometimes the 3D elements don't really mesh with the 2D. That was the same complaint that Jean and Matt had with Galaxy 4.
Oh, with the control room.
The control room and like sometimes like the Dravin ship, like it didn't quite mesh with the 2D. But I think that's just yet another signature thing with this animation team, like the lanky arms.
Yeah, but it's like, I think Galaxy 4 overall, if you're having to rank all the animation, I think Galaxy 4 for me, apart from Web of Fear, is at the bottom. Whereas I think this is probably.
Are we counting all the animations? Just this team, these two teams.
We're talking about this block.
Out of all of them.
Okay, I would argue Reign of Terror.
I quite like Reign of Terror.
Really?
Yeah.
Reign of Terror has some interesting creative choices.
Oh yes.
It's probably just a film.
It's probably just
I love how you did
Spinal
that.
Victorious, yeah.
It was better there because it was funny.
Yeah.
I think
the point is that
I
they
think
improved on the
Reign of
Galaxy 4
second
animation a lot from this.
So you prefer Fury from the Deep over the Galaxy 4? Interesting.
I think I might as well because that one.
I probably
well, I don't know about
it's the new entirely redesigned stats.
It's also just like
that just lets it out.
I cannot get over how bad Hartnell looks in that style as well.
He looks the costume's just wrong.
Yeah.
Going back to the Abominable Snowmen.
This is the best
this team has done.
Abominable Snowmen is the best this team has done, and it's a shame that they might not do any again.
Yeah, all the other team who did really good stuff on the other ones. I think they're the stronger ones.
Overall they are the stronger teams.
But it's a shame they're not going to do any more either.
I think I still will always prefer the style of the other team, like the Macroterra Faceless Ones team.
The Macroterra is the best one I think they've ever done.
Although Evil's the closest one as well.
Yeah.
Evil's really good too.
I also like the Faceless one, but I did notice it was a bit of a step down from Macro.
Yeah, but
and there was that one bit I did point this out in my review of it back a few years ago. That there is a bit where they don't move Nurse Pinto when she's talking to the doctor.
There's a bit where she
towards
just
the end of Part 5. Yeah. How could they miss that? Anyway.
But that's. Do y'all have anything else to say about it?
What about the story itself?
It has made me sort of reappraise the story.
Agreed.
Like I didn't realise. You sort of when you're watching a recon, it's sort of tricky to. It can be sort of tricky to keep up depending on the recon.
For context, these two have seen that before. I obviously have. This is John's first time ever seeing the story.
Yeah, I've only read about the story.
I've seen the recon twice because so including the Sabine episode, and I saw that at least once as well on its own.
Yeah.
And Jean thinks it's based.
I did. I thought it was very good.
Nice. I think it's a pretty good story here as well. It definitely had a better opinion of it here, and I think the animation out there, like with Fury from the Deep.
It's a story that I think is a very slow burn, and it's one that you sort of at least in my case, is one that you appreciate more with repeated revisits.
Well, I don't know. I would say from my first time, I wouldn't say that it dragged at all. I think it was a good build-up.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is that
tension does build.
I just think episode 6 goes too quickly for the pace of the story.
Fair. I think
but by that point you're kind of wanting it to, but it's like so quick.
Yeah, I think
it's a bit like
I think there's some meandering in parts 4 and 5 with the whole Victoria running around and doing stuff. I think that. I think
that's her personality.
Yeah, but I thought she was quite strong in the first half of this story.
Yeah, there's a few moments. Actually. Yeah, there's a few moments.
Yeah. And then halfway through, she kind of goes down a bit. Although when she does trick Tommy to get out of the cell, that is really good.
That is a really good scene.
When she gets hypnotised on
really long cut of animation as well. It goes for like a minute and a half, and it's just one shot.
The Abominable Snowmen in particular has the longest shot they've ever animated.
Yeah,
in any animation.
In a Doctor Who animation.
Yeah.
Yeah, not in the entire history.
Or at least for the animation. I don't know what that one would be.
But yeah, like it's a story that I've like appreciated with each revisit, and I think this is the best form we're ever going to get of it because it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, unless the other episodes turn up, then this is the best. This is going to be the best we're going to experience it.
Yeah.
Along with the surviving episode 2.
Yeah, but I think that's all we have to say.
Also, we finally got an answer as to why Troughton's eyes are green in this.
Yeah, we had a Q&A session afterwards.
Do we have the footage? Can that be inserted in here?
I didn't
want to take the footage.
I didn't film it.
It might get uploaded to Twitter at some point.
Yeah, I didn't record it.
Well, if we find it on Twitter, we'll put it in.
I recorded when Nick got his gift.
Yeah, I did take some pictures, so I've got pictures of that I can send to you. But that I didn't film it.
Yeah, I asked. There was a Q&A session, and I was the last question. I was like, "So Troughton had blue eyes? Why are they green?"
And they kind of based on them asking
Fraser and Debbie and Wendy
and Annika and Michael, I think, back in the day, and Gary was writing one of the version books, I think it was New Adventures.
Yeah.
So he was describing the eyes, and then I think they kind of went from there.
He was describing the story without.
So apparently it's also to make the Doctor look a bit more alien as well.
Yeah, more cat.
And so more sticks out more from the crowd.
What's quite interesting is the survival DVD has the Doctor with the yellow eyes, but I don't think he ever had them.
He had it for like one shot.
One shot.
He goes to bash them off his head.
Okay, that's where the picture
is from. It's that if we fight like animals, we die like animals.
Okay, that makes sense, as they use that picture from that on the cover.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I think that's all we have to say about
I think that's a good story.
Out of 10?
No, I give it an abominable... I give it a big fluffy boy out of 10.
I think season 5 is the best season of all time, and y'all should stand it.
I give it a Tibetan monastery out of 10.
I give it 8 out of 10.
I give it no longer racist out of 10.
Nice.
I give it Patty Tratty Daddy out of Victoria.
And if I was doing a jokey one, I'd give it Snuggly Wuggly of Snowmen 1.
Speaking of Snuggly Wuggly, let's get in for a giant group shot. We are all so sweaty. And
that's what Matt's
Subscribe.
And enjoy the rest of Troughton Month.
Yeah!
Awesome, guys.
That's good enough.
Right.